I'm Stephen Raymond Asim, a native of Cross River State, born into a family of 4 and being the second child, and also I was a mixed breed, let me just put it that way. Mom is from Lagos, dad is from Cross River. So I'm just my simple self, tend to associate little but do more in the society, and went to school, primary, secondary, the tertiary level, Yaba Tech to be precise, and then studied applied art. Finished 1998, 2000. Then started my, my passion has been a fashion designer. That's few about me. Well, that's every question I attempt to every now and then. It's a child brain thing, and I would say I'm so lucky to be in the state of personality, because in the family where my mom comes from, it's always a female trade, a female culture. They were all seamstress, and they love doing the crafty stuff. And then also my mom sews, our mother sews, aunties and all that. But in the gene of the generation, the family generation and trace, it happens to be that I just had the flair as a child back then, being also a creative-minded person, a very curious person. I started, doing little things with mommy, trying to get to know why she does this, or what she does this, and then even create my own thing myself, and then tend to work with myself and see how I could go. There and there I started with PCs, sewing dollies, doing things for my kid sister who was the last born in the house, and also making clothes for her everyday uses and also events and stuff like that. So I stepped into the shoe of being a dressmaker and doing also needlework and all that crafty stuff, beading, matting, all that. So, incorporated with my person, being a creative-minded person also, I had to dabble into the creative aspect, which drawing and all that. So it inspires me till the moment I even had to use it as part of my means of sending myself to school, also supporting myself in my schools stuffs, and till my tertiary education, which I came out as a fine artist but not a designer, because I never studied fashion on its own. It's a talent, it's a nature, it's natural, it's a gift from God to me, because I happen to be the only male family who would pick up that trace in the family in the entire generation till my present state. So that's just how I became. And then forming the brand started at the, this year is making it 2020. I officially launched the brand, because it was officially launched in May 1st, 2000. There at French Cultural Alliance Française, the French Cultural Center in Ikoyi back then, in the days, which there came to limelight. I had to put my first collection online, appear on New Dawn on 10 with Fumi Yoda back then in those days, which Susan Ayo was a fashion columnist who interviewed me just like today also. So there and there I kicked off. Steve Ray was giving birth to, and here I am today. Fashion designing in Nigeria. Oh, we are still getting there. It's very, very. One thing I keep saying is because there's this project I'm trying to work on for this year, because this let me say the COVID has really affected my productivity. Even the business itself is crawling now. I can't lie to that. Financially, morally, generally, otherwise. With that, even with this interview, I wouldn't mind, and I will so much appreciate and pray that God will bless whichever organization or bodies that could come in and help Stevie Ray at this point in time, because it's not easy. For 20 years being in this industry, a child brain thing that I just, picked up from the back house, from my parents to this stage, and being the only male in the family, 20 good years, I keep asking myself, how did I get here? God, what did I do? How did you brush me to be able to stand this? Please, I yearn for support. Stevie Ray wants to go nuclear. Stevie Ray wants to compete with the Versace, with the Gucci you wear out there. Stevie Ray wants every Nigerian to be able to, because there is money in fashion. There is money in clothing. No human being would ever say in a day he has never changed his or her boxers or vest inside, not to talk of what he wears on top. So there is money in fashion. It's just our country is not really seeing into it. They don't want to tap into it. They rather prefer going into the oil sector than political platform, which is so degrading to me. Apology, but it's very, very degrading. I'm no more a young man. How old did I start? 8 years old. When did I get to become Stevie Ray or today? But today Stevie Ray is 47 years of age. Still single, not bothered. So don't ask sidelong questions, because I'm not ready to attend to that. But this is live. This is me speaking. This is me talking facts. There's no need to pretend. There's no need to, act like. There's no need to fake it. So if any organization could support Stevie Ray at this stage in time, it's a plus for me, because it's not just going to be me, but it's going to be a brand where people will celebrate just as celebrating other top brands that I came to life to meet. That's major. There is a lot of money to make in it. I don't want to even give any statistics or any format on about that there's money in it, because if France could survive with fashion and being the global market chart, for heaven's sake, why can't we do that in Africa too? Oh wow, to God be the glory. Let me start with that. And to every human race, everyone, starting from me, whatever leads us to do things we do, plan things we plan, live the life we live, choose a path to take, begins with our mindset. Like I said earlier, a lot of us has been, and I don't know, has lost it. Is the upbringing first. It starts from the roots, the family you come from, how were you brought up, what were the things being taught to you, in being able to stand the society, being able to be yourself, either a man or a woman. What makes you? Because even talking about rape, women these days, it's just that the society wants to make it a political noise about. That's how I say it. It's my opinion. But the issue remains that this lifestyle has always been till present date. But violating one's right, either a male or a female, I can't really judge. I can't really say much, because I can't come here and then start penalize someone when I don't really have the just to do that. I believe it's only God that could surrender that to anybody who's it's not meant to be a quite loud thing. It's just for every parents, every homes, every society, culture, tribes, whatever, to call themselves to order and tell themselves the truth. Even the older ones, the younger one, the married, the single are doing this. So what is the noise about single person who was just caught on the broad daylight or who was exposed on the broad daylight? Do we go back to Fela's song? So what else do I have to say concerning that? Nothing else than what is, it's just what it is. And I keep saying one thing, I think it's Ozadibo Oliver the Cook that sings, Oganwa Obodonwa is an Igbo language which simply means live and let live. So why should we be nagging over that? It's not a good thing to preach on, but at the same time, let's go back to ourselves and ask ourselves, the lady you rape, if another person rapes your own blood the way you did, how would you feel? The question is left for you. The answer is blowing in the wind. Well, funny, I'm not a thinking type. I only see my mind. I feel things and I say them out. Very blunt to that. So I don't eat my words, and I don't tend to like just throw up or vomit out. Is there anything I can do for the love of fashion? Oh, okay. There, let me just preach this as my fashion slogan. I once told a lady who was interviewing me, she first of all asked me when she came interviewing me about the two-faced thing. She now said, what's my greatest fear? Let me start with that, then I'll fall back to your question. I looked at her. If there's anything I need to say about myself, what is my greatest fear? I said, well, aside from God, as God first, I give that to God, because there is no how my life as a human being depends on God. Who touches my life today or tomorrow was God sent to me. Now, my fear is human, same human I relate with. Because what? If not for same human, Two-Face wouldn't have done what he did to me first. And so that was my first comment. I said, I felt my feelings that period was like, you know, when we are talking of rape now, when even in my fashion, in the paper content, that was my statement out. I felt raped by Two-Face, taking that joy from me without giving me back what it was. That was how I felt. Now back to the question you threw at. The controversies and then what I feel could be, you know, look into in the industry, or things I feel it's just the lack of, you know, regulatory body in the industry when it comes to fashion. Even though we have a regulatory body, organization or clique that are running, but it's not functional. I was once a member. I don't want to mention him. I was once a member, but I had to leave because of the mentality and ideology behind the organization. And I know a whole lot of Nigerian youth today who are aspiring to be who I am, also have the same itch, being able to be, you know, called or be, you know, be part of it. Except you have to work within a region of clique of people like that, which is not meant to be. Even though it's even meant to be a general clique, let it be a one body that governs, you know, every designer based on the level and your class of experiences. That would be so much, you know, a grateful thing that I would love to see happening in the industry. That's the major grief I have. I'm really yearning, and my project this year, due to the COVID thing, it's about how that could be, you know, addressed even in the, you know, the governmental body. That's all I'm hoping for. That's all. Well, advice to the young generation. First, I'll first say, discover yourself first. Get to know who you are inside you. Because the Bible has already said it all. Many are called, few we're chosen, or few are chosen. Whichever way you want to put the context, but you put yourself in that shoe. First, embrace yourself, discover yourself, know who you are inside you. Be able to tell yourself the truth before you can tell another. Because handling the needle is not about making the 2,000 or the 2 million you make from an outpiece or a garment you do. Because your name is at stake. Your personality, your integrity, everything goes into it. So by the time you lose that, you know, that content in you, in being able to be what you want to be, then there's no way for you to be here. It simply means you were not called to be. But if you were called to be, then why not sacrifice your time for it? Why not give in your best? My 20 years is not a waste. I'm so proud that I could invest in a business I started with 2,500 with the first machine I bought. I have a school which I teach students. My presidency, even as president, I have a 9-year-old girl who is learning from me. I just left the office for them to handle with her colleagues. So, looking at yourself, you should be able to tell yourself the truth first. It doesn't have to do with your parents' decision. It doesn't have to do with your family decision. It doesn't have to do with the societal decision. It has to do with you. Because you are the first society to give the society what it needs. then if you don't give it, then definitely you are nobody. That's all. Oh wow. I was waiting for that to come. Well, anyway, single happily, no need. I'm in love with Christ, God, and for all. My mom, my family. Do I have a son, a 7-year-old boy. I'm proud to have him. Adopted, to be open. No big deal. Oh well, that is when God decides, and if my mind decides to, I can't force it. I've faced a lot. I've seen it all, let me just say. But trying to cover up because of societal issues, so people will not say, even in the family, they know me already that he's just who he is. Don't go bug him. If he's willing, he would. If he's not, don't force it. Because at the end of the day, whoever is involved or who is trying to, I've tried 2 options, but it wasn't working because my business is my marriage. Please don't intrude, either male or female. Please don't intrude. My business is my marriage. My family are the people I love most. Then I care for the world. That's all. Oh, that's a very sensitive question. But anyway, I just want them to sit down and relax also. I'll still keep saying it, and I'll keep preaching on that. Think twice before you close the door. Think twice before you point the finger at the other person, because the 4 is pointing at you. The question you throw out there with your 1 finger thrown out, it's asking you in 4 angles, perspectively, which you should also give an answer to. And look at it. Don't end up shooting yourself by the feet by yourself, because it's a world circular thing. Nobody knows tomorrow. I don't need to judge. They should sit down. Before this time, it has been, but it wasn't visible. But now it's visible. So do you have to kill? What if it comes to be your own child? What if it comes to be your own relative? Because it's not your own main gene. Sorry, killing is killing, no matter which way you kill. And the Bible is against it. So why not allow God to take it just then? And I believe that's why we are all going through this pandemic thing. It's for reconciliation. It's for recreation. Resetting our minds. Think wise. Look at what life is giving to us. It's not by our doing. For heaven's sake, it's God's doing. So it's marvelous in our sight. Why then should you question God in his deeds or doings? For heaven's sake, Nigerian government, when you shoot someone else's child, your child will also face the tribute somewhere else. It's just as it is.